This is something I struggle to understand for quite some time. I always envied how my other classmates can go in front of the class without worrying, without being embarrassed or anxious, and just present something effortlessly. And I hated also how hard it was for me to do the same thing. And that was before I learned the techniques that they tell in my very first video. And if you want my help to show you how you can do the same and more, click on the link down below right now for my personal coaching. So, going through school, I was entirely focused on my own problems. I think that's normal, but in my case, I was blinded by it. I knew that public speaking was a common fear of many people, but I thought that at least everyone was comfortable with speaking in front of the class, people they have known for years. And it seemed that way. They weren't embarrassed, they didn't stutter, they had no fear. But now, as I grew older, I know that's not the case. Public speaking is different for many people, but the common link is that it's dreadful and hated by almost everybody because it's hard to do without explicitly trying to improve this skill. It's just that people are much more forgiving about their speech than the typical stutterer who feels embarrassed after each mistake. On a side note, I do know how you feel going about your day without a care in the world, and then you suddenly realize that today is a bad day. Today is a day with a high tide of stuttering. You block after every few words. You feel like the progress that you have been building day by day, week by week, is just gone. It was all for nothing. I had that day today. But just remember that this day is an isolated experience, that it doesn't define you, and you have to forget about these mistakes. Because if you know which words you stuttered yesterday, for example, you aren't giving yourself much slack. You are a perfectionist. You have to stop being one because while also having a stutter, that's the worst combination imaginable. So I know it's common to be one. Just try to lessen the impact this mindset has on your daily life. Non-stutterers don't actually think about their mistakes in speech that much just because they don't make that many mistakes. Try to mirror that mindset and you will start to observe others. Quite recently, I began to feel the anxiety other people had about public speaking. It turns out that if you aren't focused on your own problems, you tend to see that other people have the same problem. Who would have thought? Like, for example, I go to English classes, and there we have to do a bunch of speaking exercises. Day after day, I am constantly bombarded with examples that public speaking is actually universally difficult. Not to mention doing that in a foreign language, not in your mother's tongue. People make mistakes. They block, they stutter, they don't know what to say. But after I was practicing my speech for quite a while, I got better and better at this skill, and in no time I performed the best out of my whole group. Just goes to show that a stutter is kind of a gift for your own speech in a way, because it forces you to constantly improve your speech, and then one day you will surpass other people who were happy with their speech, who had no desire to improve. All this to say that us stutterers judge ourselves way too harshly. We have to give ourselves some breathing room. For some practical advice, try to go out and tackle as many public speaking situations that you can, because day by day you are going to learn something, you are going to fail, but then after a while you will be better off. You will finally realize that it's not just you who has this problem, it's just that you are the only one who wants to improve it. I think that's a blessing in a way. Have a nice day.